Today, we're going to be talking about several different board games as well as some Death Guard miniatures that I completely missed the announcement for. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. I'm Angela, you're watching Hobby Night, now let's get to it. The first thing that I want to talk about is a big announcement that we have from Days of Wonder. Let's go ahead and check it out. Dun 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 dun. We're looking at a map and it appears to be train spots. That's because we are getting a brand new Ticket to Ride, but not just any Ticket to Ride. No, we're getting a brand new version of the OG Ticket to Ride. And as you might have just seen, Alan R. Moon is still working on it, but Matt Leacock and Rob Davio are also working on it. Now, if you're not familiar with Rob Davio or Matt Leacock, well, they are some really prominent designers in the tabletop world. Matt Leacock is the original designer of Pandemic, and Rob Davio is the original designer of Risk Legacy. I personally love the Legacy format in games. If you're not familiar with what a Legacy format is, it is a campaign that takes you through a game. Usually the designers end up adding in a variety of new rules that get added on as you go, usually based off of the choices that you're making through the game. And I just think it's a really cool format. And the fact that we're getting a Ticket to Ride Legacy game blows my mind. This is not anything that I was anticipating, but I'm very excited to see it just because I'm not the biggest train game fan, but I do really enjoy the idea of them, and doing a legacy version of it is one way to definitely make me dive into that genre of games and hopefully open my eyes up to some other amazing train games. So overall, I'm incredibly pumped for this announcement. Let me know if you are down in the comments as well. And now a word from today's sponsor, CMO Games. If you're anything like me, you live in the US, but you're absolutely obsessed with collecting and painting those tiny plastic soldiers that you get from Games Workshop. Or perhaps you're also like me and you like looking at beautiful art that you can get on those collectible trading card games like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. Well, I have your next destination for your online shopping trip, and that is cmogames.com. Because you see, the friendly staff over at CMO Games have been supplying gamers with hobby supplies and games for 20 years, and they specialize specifically in Games Workshop products. So if you want to get your hands on the latest Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar products, make sure to check them out because they do offer pre-orders and it might help you avoid the queue on the Games Workshop's actual website. And if you happen to be in the continental US, you spend $50 on their website and you can get free shipping on that order, which is a nice little savings because we all know shipping has gone up lately. So I'd highly encourage you to check out the link that I've left in my video description below for CMO Games, and I'd like to thank CMO Games for sponsoring today's episode. Now let's go ahead and get back to the news. Next up, we have a big announcement from Cool Mini or Not about the return of Metal Gear Solid. Let's take a look. The Shadow Moses nuclear weapon disposal facility was captured by members of Foxhound. Shit. If their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch nuclear weapons. We can't have that. Known Foxhound members involved in this terrorist activity are Sniper Wolf. Oh, we're gonna get so many cool people. Revolver Ocelot! He's one of my favorites. Psycho Mantis, very cool. Liquid Snake, lovely pretty boy. Solid Snake is the best. I really like him. God, these models look great. Otakon! So I'm actually pretty pumped about seeing Metal Gear Solid come back. This is a game that was actually originally scheduled to be coming out through IDW, but got canned for various reasons. I think IDW went under. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the point is they no longer have the rights to it. So Cool Mini or Not actually picked up the rights for this amazing looking Metal Gear Solid game, all about espionage, all about sneaking around, featuring over 20, I think, models of various characters that you're probably very familiar with if you've played the games. Cool Mini or Not does a pretty darn good job, in my personal opinion, in developing games, especially when it comes to the games that are based off of intellectual properties like Metal Gear Solid. Like, they just handle everything pretty well. They've handled some of their Age of Sigmar, their A Song of Ice and Fire stuff really well. Their Zombicide franchise, which is their own IP, they've also handled very well. They've also brought in a bunch of Cthulhu things, so they really know how to work with these other designers and these other properties and do them justice. So seeing this come about, finally, after having been announced like over 2 years ago through IDW, is great news. And I know that there was a lot of people who, when this game originally came out, they were super pumped, were so ready for it. It got canceled and there were a lot of concerns. Well, I think this will hopefully give a lot of people plenty of relief in regards to the game is coming out. We're still getting some badass looking miniatures. They look so hype. I actually really like the bases that they did on them too, because they always do these nice textured bases. For Cool Mini or Not, love seeing that. And honestly, the gameplay looks pretty solid from what we're seeing. Oh my god, I had not actually noticed the box. Holy shit, I need this. I need this so badly. Okay, we have a box miniature of Snake sneaking around in a box, and that to me makes it 100% worth it. Now, you can currently pre-order this game. If you are a fan of Metal Gear Solid, if you like Cool Mini or Not, or you just want to be able to own some of these really rad miniatures, I'd highly encourage you to check it out. Now, this game is not slated to come out still until May of 2024. But I think there's a good reason for that, and I don't think it's just cmon wanting to delay things. No. Recently, we got an announcement of a remake of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I'm so happy. That's my favorite of all of the Metal Gear Solid games. And I think that this game being delayed until 2024, not coming out until May, might have something to do with potentially coinciding with that. Now, there is no official, confirmation of when Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, the remake, will be coming out, but I suspect they may want to try to overlap them, or at least get them very close. So does this mean we're looking at a summer, possibly, or early fall release for the remake? I don't know, but I'm excited for both of this game and the remake. It's gonna be so good! Sticking with the board game news, and in fact, even sticking with Cool Mini or Not, we have another new trailer from them, this time for the Stranger Things board game. Honestly, I think they nailed it when it comes to the models of the kids and all the characters in the game, just looking at that brief image of them. I hope a soundtrack comes with the game. I feel like you need to be vibing to this music as you're playing this game. One of the things that I just want to immediately call out about this, in regards to it being another Cool Mini or Not game, is the fact that this particular one, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Camp Grizzly, but Camp Grizzly is an absolutely fantastic 70s themed slasher horror game, and the board and the way things move in this game really remind me of it. It might also partially be the 80s synthwave and just the vibe of this game being set in the 80s, and they just feel very similar to me, but I'm really loving the style of this. Now, I do know that this particular game is also being designed by Rob Daviau. So he's a very busy designer, and he's worked on this one. Honestly, that makes me very hyped about it. Again, he's very good about doing sort of campaign-driven games, and I really love campaign-driven games. So even though I'm not a huge fan of Stranger Things, I only watched a portion of season 1, I am very intrigued by this particular game. Now, this game is currently available. This is not something you actually have to wait for, like the Metal Gear Solid game or even the Ticket to Ride game. You can currently pre-order it, or actually not even pre-order, you can just pick it up, which is pretty darn cool. Let me go back in to where we are looking at what you get with this game. Stores now, there we go, So you get a lot of really cool things, there's a lot of really cool miniatures, you can purchase it now. I think if you're a fan of Stranger Things, this would entice me. Intellectual property based games have really improved, and Cool Mini or Not, as I mentioned already, I think does an exceptional job with them. So I would highly encourage you to check this out if Stranger Things happens to be your thing. Hey guys, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and you've hit that bell icon for notifications, because this week on Friday, I have a brand new video where we're gonna focus on whether or not you can use Lego as wargaming terrain. I'm really excited about this. I hope you are too, and make sure you're subscribed. Now it's time to see where Games Workshop wants us to holiday. What is this music?
On this week's episode, we take a trip to scenic Oghram.
Oh, excellent.
Looking for an exciting holiday destination, explore forgotten ruins, relax by hot springs.
I do love a hot
go
spring.
On safari to meet the exotic flora and fauna. Make sure your travel insurance is up to date.
That was a delightful ad for Warhammer 10th edition. So it looks like we are having this take place on, what do they call it? Oghram? Get the name back on screen. Games Workshop.
On this week's episode, we take a trip to scenic Oghram.
All right, Oghram, which seems to be where 10th edition is going to be taking place. I guess that's where the next campaign is going to be, and this is a delightful little announcement for it. I continue to be very excited for 10th edition coming out. The thing that I think I'm most excited for is just getting my hands on all of those cool new Tyranid models because they look sick and I want to paint them. But I am still very intrigued to see how these new rules actually work together, what playing a game actually feels like. I can't wait, you guys. And we're gonna be streaming so much of painting those miniatures. You guys better be prepared. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about these beautiful Nurgly boys that you see on screen because I don't remember when Games Workshop originally announced these lads, but I missed it, and I think they look fantastic. They are part of the Space Marine Heroes lineup, which is a product that started in Japan, but they've slowly expanded out to go everywhere because everybody looked at what they were getting and went, hello, yes, we would like those miniatures too. They are glorious. Please give them to us. And Games Workshop was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. We do want more money, so we will sell these other places. So now you can get your hands on them in the US and I believe in the UK, across Europe as well as in Japan. And these lads look so good. I have a couple of different collections of the Space Marine Heroes lineup already, including the first run of Death Guard. And one of my favorite things about the Death Guard in particular when it came to the Space Marine Heroes, and you'll see it in these pictures here, is each of them has a beautiful little Nurgling. Although this boy has a bunch of bugs, so he doesn't actually seem to have a Nurgling. That's okay, he has a giant buggo. But everybody else has a delightful little Nurgling of some variety, hanging out with them, just chilling, being friends, and that is exactly how it was with the first set, and seeing that return makes me so happy. Now, that isn't the only thing that you'll be able to snag from Games Workshop if you're wanting to pre-order with them. You can also check out the new Underworld set, because that is also available for pre-order, and this is the one that is bringing back the Sepulchral Guard. I think I nailed it. I don't actually know. Tell me in the comments whether or not I pronounced that word correctly, because it's entirely likely that I did not. But they are some delightful skellymen with some big spears and long capes, as well as some new Stormcast Eternal, those nicer boys that I am liking so very much. So I might end up getting my hands on this new starter set. The final thing is if you want to get some more Underworld's miniatures, because they are fantastic and are a great way to add some variety into your existing armies for either Age of Sigmar, well, specifically Age of Sigmar, because Underworlds is an Age of Sigmar line, but if you do want to add some cool new minis to your Night Haunts, well, the Headsman Curse is also becoming available for pre-order, so you can get some new Ghosty Boys along with some new Skellymen and just add them in to your undead armies and have a grand time with it. I'm really excited for everything that we are getting coming in this year. Like, there are so many good miniatures coming out, so many good board games coming out, so many good video games on the way. It's going to be a blast. I cannot wait to be able to share all of that with you guys. All right, that has been it for this week in hobby news. If you missed my coverage of the Warhammer Skulls event, where Games Workshop talks about all of their upcoming video games, well, don't worry, that video is currently live and you can go watch it right now after this video. I've left a link to it in the video description, as well as just linking it at the end of this video. Now, before I do leave, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for making it so content like this can continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. I have been Angela, and I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.